Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving me a listen. And if you love the show, drop me a review on your favorite podcast app, or you can become a patron at patreon.com/oldmanbrad. So this chapter, I'm diving back into public domain horror. As you know, I've had a couple episodes with my wife. We talked both Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey films. We unfortunately didn't get to talk Peter Pan. I've talked Punch is another one. I think there's some other ones out there, but there's so many. But we have another Mickey Mouse one this week. And I brought another guest to talk Mickey Mouse public domain horror. I want to welcome in Mike and Serial from Rise from the Dead podcast. How you doing, Mike?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
What is your history with the public domain horror craze that's kind of going on right now?
You know what? My history is I really, when it first got announced, I was like, oh, kind of into it because I like spins, twisted fairy tales. And then I saw how oversaturated it was going to get like so quickly. But you know what? I don't entirely hate it after I saw the Blood and Honey movies. I know a lot of people loved the second. They didn't like the first. I didn't mind the first one. I actually did enjoy it.
I'm a fan of that first one. It's just dumb fun to me.
It was dumb fun, but you could just tell, like, it wasn't this awful, worst movie I've ever seen thing that people were making it out to be.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely needed a stronger script.
I'll say those people who say it's the worst movie they've ever seen have not scoured enough of Tubi to see that.
Very, very true facts there. I just think it needed a stronger script and a little bit of better direction. And I feel like it got both of those things with Blood and Honey 2.
Yes.
And honestly, Blood and Honey 2 just narrowly escaped like my top 20 of 2024. I thought it was really strong for a slasher that, like, again, public domain. They're turning them out quick, so you don't expect Scream quality movies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It wasn't that still, but for a slasher, I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the rest of this Pooniverse.
And I know these Blood and Honey films, or not Blood and Honey, these public domain films. I mean, it's been around. There have been Alice in Wonderland horror movies. There's been many others, but it just seems like recently, I think because Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse have entered public domain, that it's like, oh, it's like this big craze coming now because all these Disney properties are starting to land.
Oh, I agree. I definitely think, like you said, it's always been around, but I think because we're talking Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
And now that's that big flash in the pan that grabbed everyone's attention.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the Peter Pan?
I did not. I did miss out on it.
That one's a lot darker, for sure.
I heard. I do want to see that one, but I'm excited for them all.
This week, we're going to talk I guess this was the third Steamboat Willie movie that has come out. So we had The Mousetrap and Mouse of Horrors, which you can watch on, I think both of them are on Tubi.
They are. I've seen them both.
So we're going to be talking I Heart Willie, which drops later this week. I think it's doing a one night only in theaters, and it hits digital, I believe, after that. But before we dive into it, I want to say if you're in the Cincinnati area, come out to Frightful Fridays on the third Friday of the month. I host a horror screening. We just finished our screening of In the Mouth of Madness last week. It was a really well-attended screening. Everybody, I did the thing. I did In the Mouth of Madness. And I completely blanked if not doing Prince of Darkness. So I'm going to try to get that one here soon to finish the Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy. But our screening for March is April Fool's Day. On March 21st, come out to see April Fool's Day from 1986. And then we have a screening set up for April already, April 18th. At 10 p.m., we're going to do the 4K restoration of Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. Come out to the Esquire Theater, third Friday of the month, and let's watch a movie together. All right, let's dive into I Heart Willie.
Rule number 1, always follow the best story.
And the
haunting of Steamboat Willie is by far the best story. Yeah?
I mean, if something really evil is actually there, then, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't disturb it. If it really is Willie, or the spirit of Willie, or whatever, then his age wouldn't matter.
What do you mean?
Pure evil never dies. Oh.
A psychopathic man lures his friends into a deadly mousetrap, where pure evil aims to harvest their skin and take on the form of the beloved cartoon character he once helped create. This chilling origin story reveals the dark side behind the most cherished animated figure of modern times. This is directed by Alejandro G. Allegra and stars Maya Luna, Sergio Rogalto, Daniela Porras, Miko Camacho, and many others. You know, real quick, Mike, what are your quick thoughts on I Heart Willie? Did you have any expectations before you went in?
You know, I had low expectations only because the Mickey Mouse public domain horror has not been great to me so far.
Yeah, Mousetrap was fine. And the Mouse of Terrors, did you see Mouse of Terrors?
I did.
That one was okay. It was weird how the Winnie the Pooh, the exact suit from the first movie came in, but I think there's a second one of that one coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I'll still watch them. I didn't hate them, but yeah, they were not kind. But with this one, so my expectations were low. And the funny thing about it is the first half of this movie, I really felt those low expectations being met.
Yes.
But honestly, for me, it did take a more pleasant turn. I, again, did not hate this, did not love it, but I did end up having a pretty fun time with this movie.
I'm the same way. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. The thing is, like, there's that beginning is a little rough before it finally kind of gets going. And honestly, I've been telling people this is so far the best unintentional comedy of the year so far. I laughed more through this movie than I have at a horror movie in a long time. And I know it was all unintentional jokes too, which
yeah, and to a point where I'm like, are they in on the joke? Or is this just one of those super unintentional campy films that is going to hit the right audience?
It's because the dialogue is rough, but it's not comedically rough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It is one of those, I don't know if I want to say it's so bad it's good, because I didn't think it was great, but I didn't hate my watch. That's the thing. Like, out of the three, this might be towards the top of the three Mickey Mouse so far. Mickey Mouse films.
For me, it's actually quite far ahead of the other two.
Okay.
Because if you had me just rate it like specifically as a whole, it's going to get a little bit lower of a score. But if we just focus from the second half, honestly, I'm looking at like a strong, solid 3 out of 5.
It's a mean second half. We'll just say that. Like, it's no holds barred, like, mean.
They should be very thankful for their second half.
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and just say from henceforth, we're going to spoil it. If you watch the movie, if you want to watch the movie and come back, or you're going to figure it out in the first 2 minutes of the movie, what the twist is anyway. So we're going to spoil it away. We'll talk the first half. This movie felt like a very late 90s, early 2000s film, especially the credits, where it's like the newspaper clippings cutting in with the reworked Steamboat Willie with the stitched mouth. I don't know why. It's in public domain. I don't know why you had to do that, but okay.
I definitely, like you saying that, it's definitely giving like a 90s straight to video, Hollywood video type movie. maybe that's part of the reason why I did like the opening credits, because I do like cheesy stuff like that. Final Destination, like super, super thematic openings credits. I did like that it also like kind of force fed you quick Disney history so that they didn't have to fully do it in the movie, even though they decided to. Again.
Yes.
I appreciated that because I'm like, okay, like if you're paying attention, they're giving you a lot of the setup.
Where you have these friends that are going on a, I guess, what were they, live streamers or like YouTubers?
Yeah, one of them
I think they're
did
more
like
YouTubers.
ghost chasing.
Yeah.
Like they did like haunted live videos.
That's it.
And stuff. So that was that group of friends.
So they're going to discover this. They're going to this location to basically give the history and find out if there's any spookies at this place. The what do they call him? Mouse Boy? Is that what they call him instead of?
Yes.
Willie?
The locals call him Mouse Boy, but his name is Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, we're getting a lot of exposition here.
Yes.
We're getting a lot of it in that car ride.
Well, there was a whole lot in that car ride, including Nora, the character, talking about his Minnie and love of his life and everything else. And you're like, wow, you just like laid it on thick right there of like, I wonder where this is going to go.
Why are we bringing this up so heavily so soon?
Exactly.
Maybe this is important to the movie.
We could have waited until halfway through. She could have given this little clip, snippet of story, I guess. But no, right up the bat, you're like, oh, yeah, this is, I bet she's going to become Minnie. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I feel like, movies, they like to leave you little breadcrumbs. And they were like, nope, here's everything you need to know to get to this twist. We're just like, it's not little loose hints.
No.
They are like, warning sign, this is what's happening.
The thing with this, now, I said that I found this very comedic. And some of it is the dialogue and like that, dropping it and going, I wrote in my notes right away of like, okay, yep, she's Minnie. And then the music, they're reusing Ride of the Valkyrie over and over again from Apocalypse Now. Everybody knows the music. And I was like, is this song in public domain? Is that why they're using it over and over again? It seems so out of place.
I didn't understand the point of like the music specific. And they're like, I hear the music. And I'm just like, why is this?
No, because the first time when they cut to him and all you hear is bum 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 bum, and I'm like, this does not fit, and I'm laughing, and I'm just like, okay, let's see where this goes.
That was for me probably the most out of place thing that didn't work. There were some other things that I was caught off guard by, even though they did make sense, but they did work, but they did still catch me off guard. And I did find it pretty creepy, like when we get to the, oh boy.
Oh, yes.
So caught off guard, but I'm like, I liked it.
What did you think of his mask when we see him? Because they make sure they make a point that he hand makes this mask and that he's made it, which it looks very much like someone just put it together.
Overall, I did enjoy the mask because it's a kind of distorted version of original Steamboat Willie as opposed to Mickey Mouse. So I did like
which
that.
It couldn't be Mickey. It had to be Steamboat Willie Mickey.
Yeah.
And just like, I think, I know Mousetrap did it. I don't know if Mouse of Horrors did it, but this one, they make sure they put a disclaimer in the front of like, this is not a Disney property. I'm sure Disney lawyers told all these people like, look, you can do it, but you have to do this in front.
Definitely. Cause I noticed that right off the bat, like the disclaimer was so strong. I'm like, yeah, they had to put this up there. But overall, I did like his mask. I didn't know if this was part of it or maybe it should have been. He put it together himself, but it's not made out of skin, right?
I don't know because I don't think they say that specifically because he is, I mean, he looks like a burn victim when you kind of see him.
Yeah.
But he's how they put the story. He was kind of using the skin to kind of keep himself how he's been around so long.
Yeah, because he's what, like 90 something years old, apparently.
Yeah, and he still looks like he's much younger than that.
I did like the mask. Again, I was a little confused if it was supposed to be made out of skin or where the skin was coming from.
If it was made out of skin, if you just took pieces of skin and sewed it together a la, Leatherface, it works. But yeah, they never specifically say.
Because I'm like, I know that there was just a whole lot of importance of like showing that he sews people. And so that's why I was like, what? Like, why is this important? There was just a lot of choices where I feel like I know why they did that, but it wasn't for certain that like this is the reason why they're doing that. So a little loose there.
And this movie is pseudo horny in a lot of ways too. They do the cliched, these friends are going off, but they're all gonna try to have sex too. So because it's a horror movie, that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
Like the one girl says, "I'm gonna fuck that dick off." I'm like, what?
Yeah, there was definitely the horniness to it. I mean, well, first of all, just so you guys know, Willie is shirtless.
The whole time. That was a choice.
And I think that's why like the mask didn't work 100% because it felt very, I put on a mask.
But I think they're trying to make it because Steamboat Willie doesn't wear a shirt. Because did you notice his shorts? His white shorts had those big buttons on them too.
Yeah.
So I think they tried to go that way, but it didn't totally work.
Yeah, because now that you say that, I can see.
I mean, at least the guy was cut, so he.
Yeah, they did make sure to pick like the right body type to be shirtless for that, what they were going for. But that's the first thing I noticed, and obviously it's on the poster too. But I'm like, it's very important that they needed this jacked guy to be shirtless.
Yes,
they made it a point. Which, again, a very heavy-handed clue foreshadowing, basically spoiling itself that the main girl dated the one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another girl. Is it Maya or Nora?
Nora is the girl who broke up with the guy who ends up becoming Minnie.
Yes. So then Maya is the, I guess, quote unquote gothic girl that they really stereotyped up with her appearance.
She's the gothic girl who they imply that she likes to sleep around.
And she is now going after Nora's ex. And I feel like if she's such a good friend to Nora, no matter what type of person she is supposed to be, she wouldn't have done that, which made it all the more like telling that we only got that hookup so that he could say that his ex was super freaky.
Yes.
And then she had to find out what it was. And I'm like, well, now we really, if you didn't get it with the first heavy clue.
Yeah, you
get it now.
You should get it now. She wanted me to sew her belly button closed and do all these things. And you're like,
she wanted me to tie her up, beat her, and then the literal, like, I am telling you who the killer is. She wanted me to wear a Mickey mask or a Steamboat Willie mask. And I'm like, well, here we go.
They just wanted to make sure, in case you didn't get it at the beginning of the movie.
The fact that they still treated it as a twist towards the end, I'm like, we saw this coming.
Yeah. If you didn't, I don't know what to say to you.
Still very cool. There's a lot that I liked about what happened.
Because the second half, when we start to get into the kills, it's torture porn, a lot of it. It is, some of it was mean-spirited, I feel. And just the way he does it, just how he kind of gets them in the neck to paralyze them and then can do whatever he wants to them. And I'm just like, man, this is some fucked up shit.
And it was very aggressive, but I am glad that they did that, because I will say, when we are saying the first half and second half, I truly mean the first half is all character-driven storytelling with
to set up
nothing.
that twist multiple times.
Yeah. And I feel like in a movie like this, when you know you're not going to have the strongest actors, I feel like we should have had it less character-driven, had more characters so that it could just be a bloodbath slasher movie rather than like the first half being like this deep dive into personalities that I'm like, you all are very one-dimensional and a little flat for this to be like so heavy-handed in the dialogue. That was not strong.
Car ride out there scene with a lot of dialogue. And then there was this kind of like the awkward hangout when they got there scene with a lot of dialogue. And I'm like, just start killing them. I want them to start dying now.
And once we get there, like it's a great time.
Yes.
But
and it goes quickly after that. And you're like, okay.
I was so happy that I followed it through. But the first half was one of those strong, like, if I wasn't doing this podcast, if I wasn't guesting, this might be a turn-off moment because it's taking very long to get somewhere.
But then it turns. And what did you think of the kills and everything after that when we finally got things going?
Yeah, once it got amped up, like you said, it is a little mean-spirited. It is a little heavy-handed with being so brutal. But again, I feel like that's the jump we needed for this movie to give it some life. I honestly feel like I just wish they would have committed a little bit more to their body acting when it came to like the thrust of the axes and stuff that they were, the hammers and stuff. Because I felt like it was very like weak in the way that there was a level of brutality because we see it keep happening. But I'm like, I wish you just grunted a little bit more or did something to make it just feel a little bit more powerful. I had a good time with those kills. There were times where I was like, oh, you're still going. Like, we're still doing this. We're sure this person's not dead yet.
We got to take a little bit more skin off of this part right here.
Yeah. Once it got going for me. I liked the twist. And there were just parts even more towards the end that we'll get there. But there was so many choices that I'm like, this saved the movie for me. Because there were choices that I'm like, oh, I really like this. I am having a fun time. Well, I'm having a fun time with the setup of Steamboat Willie, Mouse Boy himself doing the killing and setting everything up. But then once we get introduced to the person we all saw coming, I had an even better time.
I love the kills. I wanted a bit more of Willie kind of like chasing them more than we're going to paralyze them and then start torturing them. I was like, I kind of want a little more of the chase. It's okay. We didn't get it. But yes, when where she really kind of turns and gets him tied up and straddles over him, I was like, oh my God, are we going to go this far? What is she going to like? She didn't.
I liked what they went with her specifically, because like the whole point was no one expected that from her, from the friend group. The audience sees it coming.
Yeah. At this point, you're supposed to go, oh, gasp. I can't believe this happened.
Yeah, I can't believe it was the good girl. And it's like,
what?
I think if they didn't give such heavy-handed clues, I feel like that twist would have made it so much better of a movie if we didn't see it coming.
Now, what did you think of the full-on twist where she pulls up her shirt and she has a tattoo on her rib cage that says, I Heart Willie? I was in tears laughing so hard because I was like, all right.
And this is where you pointed out the unintentional campiness jokes there, because she did that. And again, like once I saw her go for her shirt, I was like, she gonna have a tattoo. And she pulled it up and it was I Heart Willie. And the loudest audible groan that turned into laughter.
It was so funny. I was like, I don't think they meant it to be funny. It's supposed to be like the big, oh, she's always been connected to him because she always mentioned it multiple times, but it was just hilarious.
Yeah. That whole part, there was like an up and down for me because that part I audible groan turned into laughter, but I did like the little part of her like telling him like, I'm not a child anymore. Like, so this whole like deranged, she has always been obsessed with him since the first time she saw, because that's the other thing. They told us that she saw him
because
once
didn't
before.
he kill her family or kill, like, she's seen it all before. So,
yes.
And she's always been like this connection. They've had like this mental connection together. And I'm like, okay.
So yeah, like, then we get to her like talking about that. Again, everything would have hit so much better had we not known ahead of time.
Yeah.
But like her telling him, like having the Steamboat Willie tattoo, and saying like just that connection, telling him, and now they're both connecting like heavy now. And I'm just like, this is where we hit this is bad, but I'm having a great time.
Yes. I mean, it was at the point I lost it in laughter going, okay, I'm kind of liking this. It's not good, but I'm liking it.
I wouldn't put this in the same category because the movie I'm about to say, I think, is a much stronger film and an actual good film. But I feel like there also was this little, some of it was intentional, but there was a little bit of unintentional camp to sleepaway camp that this movie gave me. Like, these are things where I'm like, there's gonna be a following for this because we're laughing at the things we're not supposed to be laughing at.
Like, I completely want to watch this movie again with like a group of people.
Oh yeah.
Just to get people's reactions. And when you get to the I Heart Willie tattoo, just to like have a good time.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, and now like once we're done, I'm gonna Google search if any theater near me has this playing, because you said it might have a one day only theater release. If it does and there's one near me, I'm going to see it because I want to see how this plays out in a theater with people. Because you're right, I do want to see other people's reactions. I've already told people like, I'm going to watch this movie, and they're like, oh God. And I'm like, I cannot wait till the embargo's up and I can start talking about this movie because I'm like, again, I'm not going to go out and tell people they need to watch it because this is going to be your favorite movie of the year. No, it's not. But you're going to remember this movie at the end of the year.
You know, Steamboat Willie and Minnie get away. But if you watch the movie, if you've made it through this with us and you're still watching, there is an end credit scene that is even funnier.
That end credit scene just made everything perfect for me. I loved the skip. I loved the way it was shot. I loved the skipping. I love seeing the couples outfits.
Yeah, they had like black leather jackets with Mickey and Minnie kind of sequined on the back of them. They both have their masks, holding hands, and they're like,
yeah, it was very Disney, but not Disney.
Yes, and that's where you think like, was I supposed to take this movie seriously, or is it tongue-in-cheek? We're supposed to have a silly time with it?
Oh, I 100% think so. I think we're supposed to have fun.
Like
this
that
is not
last credit scene really said it that way of, okay, we're just having a goofy time. Although, why doesn't Minnie's mask have a nose? I noticed that when she put the mask on, hers didn't have a little black nose.
Oh, I did not even notice that. I was too involved with everything else that was happening that the detail did not get to me there. But that end credit scene, honestly, for me saying like the first, it was a struggle to get to, but once we got going, and that end credit scene made me want a sequel expeditiously. Like, I am hoping they're like, just so you know, we already shot it.
Now, do you want the sequel to go like full on silly good time? continue with the skipping and the matching outfits. And
I want Natural Born Killers, the Disney horror version.
All right.
That is what I want.
I'm all for that.
I just want it balls to the wall, like deranged, silly, but like I want it to go further than what it did here. And like you said, and I think maybe this wasn't the type of movie they were going for. Maybe it was supposed to be a little bit more hostile and about torturing people than being a slasher. But if it's the two of them, I want it to be a slasher. I want it to be a couples slasher. I want chase scenes.
Yes.
And I want...
Not just torture porn.
Like, here's the thing. There's a lot of fun silliness in any version of Steamboat Willie to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like, there are so many things that they use. I need campy kills. I want those, like, the Funhouse sledgehammer things where you hit the bell.
Yes.
I need somebody to get whacked with one of those.
Wild kills like that, cartoon-esque type of kill. Yeah, I want that.
That's what we need, and that's what, moving forward, if you are doing Disney public domain horror, then give us some cartoon horror. Don't make it so preposterous, but there's things you can do to make it silly and fun and make it work.
Oh yeah.
Like, I need more of that.
So what would you rate this movie out of 5? How would you sit, or how would you rate it, come Letterboxd when we can throw our ratings out there?
Honestly, it's already been changing because first reaction, I was done with the movie. I think I was still thinking about the first half and the second half.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a 2 out of 5. But then I was like writing my notes, getting things together. I'm like, you know what? The second half was super strong compared to the first. We're going to give it an extra half star. But now talking to you, and I'm like feeling this movie. I'm like, are we approaching 3-star territory? Are we saying this is a solid movie and not just this is so dumb you got to see it? Like, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
I have been sitting the same way. Like, I think I was sitting around a 2.5, like middle of the road. Like, it was fine. Like right in the middle. It was one like, yeah, I'd probably watch it again. It's gonna be on Tubi at some point, and I'll probably throw it on. But yeah, do I reach the 3? I don't know. I don't know if I can reach the 3 yet. I know it's a high 2.5, maybe a 2.75, almost a 3. I kind of feel like a rewatch maybe would change that, but I don't know.
For Letterboxd, like at the very least, it's gonna get a 2.5 and a heart.
Okay.
Like, it's gonna get the little like.
If you put the heart with a 2.5, that's like, it's could be a 3, but I don't know yet.
Because I still my thing is, if you looked at like my Letterboxd scoring, there's a lot of movies that people are like, oh, you said you liked this movie, but you only gave it a 2.5. I'm like, I gave it a 2.5 and a like. I liked it, but I'm not gonna go out of and say that, oh, this is a great movie. No, I appreciate that this is not a great movie, but I did like it. I think I'm leaning closer to a 3 on it. The more that we talk about it, I think the second half is so strong for me.
It's much better for sure, because the first half just drags. It's just exposition, story. Oh, we got the twist already. Oh, here's the twist again. All right, come on.
I feel if the acting was better, the first half wouldn't have bothered me so much.
Or kind of weaved in, like you said, more characters kind of weave in some kills.
Yeah.
A few more to kind of really...
Because I was very surprised that, like, because I always check, like, when I'm starting to teeter off in my head, I'm like, let me see where we're at. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, I watched a very long movie, and we were only like 30 to 40 minutes in. And I'm like, this is half the movie. And nothing enough is happening for me. And then I'm like, oh, this is rough. And then the final like 25 to 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, we put everything in this final 30.
And now this is where all of our budget went.
And you know what? I appreciate it because, like how they say, yeah, you can have a good movie throughout, but all I'm thinking about is those final 30. And like, I keep thinking about it. So I will remember this movie.
Now, you said earlier that this is ranked well high above Mousetrap and the Mouse of Horrors. Obviously, you're giving this a 3 now. Where did the other two rank on your Steamboat Willie rankings thus far?
Mousetrap, I'm 90% sure I gave it a 1.5.
Okay. Well, you see the sequel to that because they're making Mousetrap 2.
Oh, yeah. Even if I don't like these movies, I will give the sequels a shot. And you know what? They owe all that to Blood and Honey because, like I said, I did enjoy Blood and Honey, the first one. But the second one, I'm like, okay, we really did something here. So I'm going to always give the hope that we're starting to get to the people are just pushing something out quick to be the person to do it.
To be the first ones out.
And then they're using their time with the sequel to make a good movie.
And that was Mousetrap.
Yeah.
They put something together to be the first ones out. They announced it January 1. We're going to be the first.
Yeah. And then Mouse of Horrors, I think I gave it a 2 because I did enjoy it more than Mousetrap because I liked the kills a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the character work of Mickey. I loved the way he walked and killed and did everything he did. But again, not a strong story. But at the same time, I'll put myself into this boat. If you are going into any public domain horror and you are disappointed that you did not watch the next Scream movie, that is on you. That is completely on you. I don't know what we're expecting from these types of movies. I think we should just be entertained and call it a day.
Now, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Screamboat with David Howard Thornton playing Steamboat Willie? We've gotten an image of him, which I'm very cautious going in.
I'll have to look that up because I did not see.
Okay.
I did not see him yet. Again, I like him. I like David Howard Thornton. I think he does great character work.
Yes.
So I will trust that he is. If the movie's still not great, I'm going to enjoy the theatrics of his movements, of what he brings to the table. But I'm cautiously excited for it's Screamboat Massacre.
I think it's Is it just called Screamboat or is it Screamboat? I don't know. I know it's Screamboat is in the name.
I'm excited for that one. There's another one I saw called Mickey's Sleigh House.
Oh, I haven't heard of this one.
And that's supposed to be coming out this year. So,
okay.
I'm going to wait for every single one of these to be on Tubi, and I'm just going to have a Mickey Mouse party one day and just do all of these and rank them. Excited for all this public domain horror. I am having a fun time with them.
I'm 100% with you. I'm having a blast with them right now. Even the bad ones, I'm like, you know what? I still enjoyed pieces, at least.
I don't know if you saw Piglet on Tubi yet.
No, I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list.
I had a nice time with it.
Okay.
I think it did for me what I wanted from this movie of like, just give us a little bit more people so that you can just do more with.
Well, I will definitely check that one out. Probably. Maybe I'll watch it this week. I don't have a whole lot going on. Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. First time on the show. I hope you'll be back. We'll talk more public domain horror or something next time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Anytime you want me back, I will definitely come on. Public domain, I'll be here too.
So where can everybody find you out there? Because you're very active on social media.
Yes, everybody can find me. The 3 places you can find me on with my handle is Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky, all Mike and Cereal, and that's cereal like the killer, not the box. And then you can also find me a part of Rise from the Dead podcast. Our socials are on Instagram and Twitter, Rise from Dead Pod.
And follow him online if you ever need found footage recommendations. This is your guy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. So if you like found footage, I got some for you.
Well, that will do it for this chapter of Old Man Brad. Just make sure you subscribe to the show and you'll never miss any chapter of the show, any of my series Tales from Tubi, and my upcoming series Versus, which will be out in a couple weeks. Just subscribe and you won't miss any of those. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.